All right, I am back. I'm live. So yeah, I didn't get up early this morning. I think I slept through my alarm because I didn't wake up until the alarm went off for the kids to get up and for the family to read scriptures and stuff. I got to figure that out. Anyway, I do have a few things going on today. I'm gonna make this kind of quick because I want to get to them. The first one is that I've gotten a few emails from people asking me what the deal is with React Remote Conference. And I realized that I was planning on starting to pull that together for January. And so people have actually bought tickets, so I've got to either refund them or give them the option of transferring the ticket. So I will figure that out one way or the other today and let them know. Man, it's just stuff. I'm being a lot more deliberate about things, but you know, there's still things like this that catch up with you when you're trying to be better. And this is one of those things. So anyway, yeah, just working on doing better stuff that way. But yeah, if you're one of those people, I sincerely apologize. I feel bad that people are planning on doing this event, I think starting tomorrow, and they're not going to get it as they planned. So anyway, I'll probably offer them a ticket to like the Ruby Dev Summit as well, which is next week. It starts a week from now, basically. And so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I feel kind of bad about that. So the other things that I do need to get to today, I do need to get some more emails out for the webinar on Thursday and for the Dev Summit next week. And then I also need to go do a little bit more social sharing and things like that to just get people into the conference. Let me pull up the numbers on that right now because I'm kind of curious to see how many signups we have. That one won't work. There we go. But yeah, last time I looked, we were over 700, which is about where we were on Angular Dev Summit when we started the conference. And so I'm thinking we're probably going to wind up blowing this out of the water. Right, let's see, memberships, subscriptions. Yeah, it looks like we're at about 900 people. So I need to go and I need to push those buttons a little bit again and get the word out. I'm probably also going to set up some Facebook ads. I put the pixel on the website, but I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the folks that, or a lot about Facebook ads. So I may just see how that goes and just set that up a bit at a time. So anyway, we'll see how that all works out, but I'm excited for it. And then, and I realized I have my headphones on and I don't actually need them on. So anyway, so yeah, so we're going to have probably 1,500 people or so for the conference. I also had somebody email me and ask me about sponsoring it. And so I may actually pull off a sponsor or two for the conference, which will also be exciting. And then I'm probably going to also email the speakers and say, hey, here's a click to tweet that says, hey, I'm speaking at Ruby Dev Summit, you know, come watch. So anyway, exciting stuff. Anyway, the thing that has really gotten me going lately, and I think I posted on Friday about, I found my passion, which wasn't news because it was already my passion and I just kind of let other things get in the way. And that's, you know, coding. Big surprise, right? Anyway, so I've been working on this system. I already owned the domain podwrench.com. And so I'm probably just going to put it on there. And it's essentially just, yeah, a tool for podcasters. And what I'm looking for is I'm just building a system right now that manages the marketing and sponsorship delivery for the podcasts on the podcast network. And yeah, so what I've got so far, and this is kind of exciting for me, is a sponsor can sign up and then they can go to the page for the podcast they want to sponsor and they can pick the sponsorship spots that they want. And then they can just check out. So they just pay with their credit card. And then it sets up that order and reserves their spot. And so, yeah, so I'm excited to just have that all come together. and make that work. I'm sure that I've made some decisions in there that I'm going to wish I hadn't or need to change, but I'm pretty excited about it. So that's where it's at right now. The podcaster can create the podcast and enter marketing information for the show, like the audience size and the description of the audience, description of the show, and that kind of a thing. And they can set up their ad slots, is what I've called them in the app. I'm probably going to change that over to just ad inventory, and then they can just create new ad inventory. But anyway, so that's working out pretty nicely, and I'm pretty happy with it so far. The thing that I'm struggling with at this point, though, is I need to stay on top of things for the Dev Summit, and I also need to stay on top of things as far as reaching out to sponsors and things like that. But I guess the tricky thing is that, at least for the sponsorship outreach, if I get this done, it simplifies a lot of it. And then I can also automate a lot of it too by essentially putting in, I'd like to just put in a prospect system or work something out that way. Because the way that I have it set up right now, you can invite people to come be sponsors, that's the other thing I'm going to do with my current sponsors. I'm going to invite them to sign up for a sponsorship account, and that way they can get all the reports and metrics and stuff off of the sponsorship stuff. And I'm not sure if I'm going to build something that goes in and scrapes all that data out of Blueberry, or if there's another good way to do it. But at this point, I may just cobble something together so that they can at least see traffic numbers. Eventually, I'd like to get much better traffic numbers, and I'm working on figuring out how to do that. I'm kind of on the fence as far as being able to tracking the hits, right? So, they could go to podwrench.com/media or media.podwrench.com/show/slug/ so ruby-rogues or js-jabber / path to the URL or the name of the file, and then it would redirect and track a hit. But yeah, I don't know if I have all of that set up yet. I keep going back and forth on, because I don't know that I've never worked anywhere where I had to do the scaling on the database, and I'm worried about whether or not I can deal with a database with numbers that has millions of rows in it. Because even just my shows, right, my podcasts, we get 70,000 or so downloads every week. And so anyway, the thing that becomes kind of interesting there is that, let's say that it grows to 100,000 every week. Well, every 10 weeks, then I add 1 million rows to the database. And then I have to munge all that data down into, displayable information. And so, I'll probably have some jobs that just run every night and aggregate all that data and stuff. But then you have time zones and crap, and it gets complicated fast. So I don't know if I want to set up a system that actually does that. I actually have a friend that built a system that tracked all these stats. I think he also hosted the media files, and I'm definitely not sure about building that system because you have to pay for the bandwidth and the storage for all of those files. And I know how Libsyn does it. And I know that Blueberry also will host your files if you want them to, or at least I'm pretty sure they will. But anyway, the way that they essentially do it is that they have like a caching layer for the files. And so the newer episodes get served out fast, and then the other ones are kind of on their archive system somewhere. And so those get served out a bit slower. I don't know. The other thing is that they go out of their way to make sure that those files serve up fast. But the thing is that unless it's cheaper to do it that way, I don't know if there's a huge advantage to that, because most people, they're subscribed to the podcast. They want their podcast app to update, sometime during the night. And the limitation on your download speed is going to be, yes, it's usually the server on the other end. But if it'll serve up the file at a reasonable speed, so it downloads in 5 minutes or less, I don't think most people are going to care, because, they're going to see all the other podcasts downloading and they're going to have to wait for those to download anyway. I don't think people sit and watch the progress bar. And so people aren't going to say, "Oh, your downloads are slower." And so I don't know. I kind of go back and forth as to whether or not you need some complicated storage system or whether you just want to serve it up. I mean, if it's important to the podcaster, since the podcaster is ultimately going to be paying for that feature, then we can say, okay, well, if you want the regular tier, it's this much. And if you want the fast tier, it's this much. And then we can set up a CDN. But I'm probably going to test that theory before I actually figure that out, if I have people who want me to host their media files. But anyway, and then I'm also trying to figure out just the pricing structure if I open this up as a SaaS, which I would like to do. The concern there is that I feel I can make more money if I take a percentage of sponsorship, right? And then I help the podcasters using the system to find sponsors. So, if I find them $1,000 sponsor and I take 20% or 30%, that's $200 or $300. And if that's $1,000 sponsorship over a month or even over 3 months, that's $100 a month. If I charge a subscription fee for the service, I don't think I'm going to be able to charge more than 20 or 30 bucks a month. I might be able to do it like per podcast or, per podcast feed created or something like that. Maybe make it $5 or $10 per, but I don't know. It's kind of tricky. I'm kind of trying to figure that out, and I'm probably going to talk to some of my friends who have built software as a service. But right now, even if I'm the only person that uses this system and it makes it so that I can land a sponsor, and even if I talk to them and I add them to the system myself, which I need to set that up so that I can do that, and then it does all of the delivery and management and all the other stuff, right? So, hey, here's all the information I need. Hey, I still don't have the information I need. Your sponsorship is scheduled to start next week, and I still don't have the information I need. That kind of a thing. And then it also saves me the trouble of going in and updating the page and things like that. It's worth it to me because it saves me all that time. And yes, I'm dumping a bunch of time in now, but it saves me all that effort later. And having a program that does it all automatically, and I'm paying basically, server costs and things like that, which is $100 or a couple $100 a month, depending on how I set things up and host them. It still solves a ton of my problems, and it's way cheaper than paying somebody, and I don't have to babysit them, which has been my issue in the past. So I'm going to build it one way or the other, but if I'm going to build it and it's worth it gives value to other people, then I may as well charge them for it. And if I'm going to charge them for it and I'm going to solve some of these problems for them, then yeah, I feel like I should make some money. I'm also tempted to charge the subscription fee and then maybe charge them, if they want to be in the podcast directory, right? So it's a directory of shows that you can sponsor that, you can sign up on. Maybe that's an extra fee. And then, but the thing is that if I can get more sponsors into that directory, then it's worth it for more sponsors to show up and look at the podcasts in the directory and say, okay, I want that show and that show and that show and that show and that show, right? Because they can come and they can do the ad buys on all the stuff they want all at once. So anyway, I'm still figuring that out. I also, one other thing that I'm trying to figure out is right now your sponsorship buy, the page only shows one show at a time. And so you would essentially have to sign up for each show at once. And I've had some sponsors that come in and they want to sponsor multiple shows. So I've got to set that up too. We'll see how that all works out. But anyway, just trying to figure a lot of this stuff out. And I'm probably just going to get kind of the bare minimum thing working. So it'll just be the one show that you can buy on, and and it'll show the sponsorship schedule, and it'll have a download for the sponsorship audio, and it'll display the banners and do all that stuff. And then if people want the multiple show sign up, or if my sponsors come to me and they're like, we want to sponsor multiple shows, it's a pain to sign up for one at a time, then we'll figure that out. And so maybe I'll set up some kind of podcast network show or network thing, and so then I can just add all the shows that I represent or all the shows that I produce on one page, and we can figure that out. And or maybe I'll have some kind of subscription manager or sponsorship manager page, and so if I'm added to those pages as a sponsor manager, then it's like, hey, look, if you want to go see what's available on all the shows I represent, then go to podwrench.com/ whatever. The other thing that I'm playing with here is I'm wondering if I should have a separate domain for the sponsorship app, right? Now it uses a lot. It's going to be all tied into the same database, so I don't know if I necessarily want to make it a separate Rails app. Right now it's all in one repo, and I'm probably just going to keep it that way for now. But maybe it's PodWrench for the podcasters and PodSponsor or something for the. And I know podsponsor.com is already taken, but anyway, those are other things that I'm thinking about. So I may just talk to some of my friends who have built SaaS apps and just kind of see where things are at that way. But anyway, so I'm making a bunch of progress there. And so I'm going to be doing a bunch of email stuff this morning, and then doing some outreach and stuff and getting this together the rest of the day. I'm pretty sure I can get it to the point where I can actually use it by this evening. And the reason I say that is a couple of reasons. One is that I really don't have anything scheduled today except for a lunch with one of the guys from egghead.io who lives near me. And then I have another coaching call for about 15 minutes at 3:00. And I just open that up to podcast listeners. He's not paying me, but just talk through getting a job and all that stuff. Other than that, my day's open. So if I can get all my email stuff done now, then I can turn around and jump on the development stuff for the rest of the day. And then my wife usually winds up going over to her friend's house on Monday night, and so that means that I can work late, and I don't feel bad about leaving her to watch TV all evening or whatever. One other thing that I will say is that I'm pretty tired and I'm pretty burned out. And so I am considering, like, after 3 or 4 this afternoon. Of course, my son has his therapy at 4:30, so I can't do it then. But I'm also tempted to just like go see a movie between when my wife gets back from the therapy and when when she goes over to her friend's house, or just do something low key that's out of the house. In fact, I may just take my laptop and work on this at a cafe or something this morning. That might be a good option there. I'm also not sure, though, how long it's going to take with lunch with John, so that might be the break I need. We'll see how it goes, but I've also opened myself up to that possibility. In fact, I signed up for a movie pass. It's moviepass.com, and just kind of that self-care, right? It's allowing myself to just have a break. I may have better options doing that tomorrow, actually. But anyway, so yeah, just allowing myself to go do something fun, have a break, and enjoy that. I've also been tempted because I have an Xbox receiver for the controller on my desk, and I've installed what is it? The car soccer game, Rocket League, I think it's called. I've got that on my computer, so I've been tempted to just sit in here and play it for a little while. I feel a little bit guilty sometimes doing that because I'm supposed to be working to take care of the family, and it takes away from family time. But the flip side is sometimes I need that break to get stuff done. So anyway, I went way longer than I intended. So we'll see how all of this works out, and I will talk to everybody in a week. or in a week. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. And yeah, I will be up on time to do it tomorrow. So I'll make sure that my alarm actually goes off at the proper time. But yeah, we will see you all tomorrow.